Why do you believe in engineering serendipity? Could you briefly explain what this means?
Well, I mean, obviously engineering serendipity is an oxymoron, right? You can't engineer the unexpected. And yet, it's interesting because serendipity is like a psychological phenomenon. We experience chance things that seem to make sense only later. So in basically engineering serendipity, you're creating the conditions for it to happen. You're creating really fertile environments for unplanned or latent encounters with people or ideas to allow, innovation and other good things to happen.
And that's really interesting, and we're looking forward to hearing more about that. How do you engineer chance encounters then? What situations could you put yourself in to increase these moments?
Well, the key isn't that they're totally chance, or maybe sometimes they are, but really it's about context that you don't know are there. So I think about it at certain scales. There's obviously mental serendipity. How do we encounter ideas that we didn't know we already knew, or that we were just simply waiting for the right triggers? How do you in an office meet the person that you should be working on something with, but you've never met them because they're in a different department or wing or office? When you're in a city, how do you basically meet people who are in the same sort of social spheres, but you haven't encountered those connections yet? And then the most powerful stuff is, of course, digital, where we're seeing the application of social network analysis and artificial intelligence to basically discover all of these latent connections. So really what we're trying to do is simply accelerate the experience of life. Life is all about unplanned encounters. I mean, I met my wife serendipitously. I met my agent. All of these things that have happened to me that weren't the result of any plan. We know that's how life happens. So can we speed it up? Can we actually figure out where the latent connections are and then unearth them?
Well, what does that mean for the traditional office? Are they a dead end? Or what are some of the workplace of the future looking like, do you think?
It's funny because the office, as we think of it, is like only a century old, right? And they were originally built as factories for paperwork. They mirrored in the office, shuffling paper, what happened on the assembly line. So I'd like to think we should go back in time to really something more like the City of London. It's one of the examples that I love. If you think about it, Samuel Pepys in the 17th century was the original mobile worker. He went from the docks to court to pubs to coffee houses. And that's what we see workers doing today. So I think it's kind of crazy, the idea that we go to the same office every day. I think people should go to different workplaces that have different styles. We should think more about shared workspaces and co-working. I think companies should work more together. There should actually be peers at different firms that are closely aligned that should share what they know and basically try to learn faster from their peers rather than being in the same cubicle or office or, God help you, open plan office every single day. So there's a lot that can be done. And I think the office of the future is more like a living room. It should have a comfortable couch where you can chat with people and, of course, type as many emails as you need to.